Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. My name's Soleil and I garden in a zone 5B here in mid-Michigan. And today we're going to be potting up some elephant ears. So I spent some time winterizing these and I have a video that I did about pulling these out and getting them ready to be stored for the winter. So I'll put a link up here for you to be able to take a look at that. But they are ready to be potted on. I want to get them kind of started. I want them to realize that it's a little bit warmer. They do take some time to start to grow, so I have plenty of time to get them kind of acclimated and warmed up and start some green growth before it gets warm outside. So I'm going to start with this elephant ear, which is a elephant ear that is just a regular old alocasia. And then I have these other elephant ears, which are called coffee cups elephant ears, and these are a colocasia. And the difference between them has to do with the way that the leaf connects to the stem. So, first, what I want to do is take a look at this bulb. So let's take a close look at this. So this bulb right here is the main bulb that I purchased last year, but since then there's been this bulb that has grown on and it's actually really loose. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and separate it from its mother, and that's really simple to do. You'll see there's a little spot right there where it was connected. It's also making some other little babies on the sides, but I'm going to leave those alone because they are so brand new that they're connected really hard, and they'll get bigger this year, so I'll have more bulbs next year. Now, if you're wondering which direction to plant your elephant's ears, it can be kind of difficult when you first get them from the store because they're rather smooth. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to peel back some of this dead material so you can see a little bit more. Usually there's circular rings around it because of all of this growth that dies back every year and gets restarted. You can see it's already starting to feel some of the warmth that's begun to happen, and it's starting to put out some fresh starts. So that's what those little pink dots are here. That's where the leaves are going to come out from. And this is the bottom. So, and I'm just going to kind of pull off some of this dried up root material because it could potentially cause some rotting. You don't necessarily have to, but I think it just is better because it's not viable, and you don't necessarily need it to be able to get it started. This will grow all new roots. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean all of these elephant ear bulbs up. We're going to prep them. And then I've got some pots, and we're going to line them with a little bit of soil. And we're just going to make it very damp. Nothing too exciting because if we make it too wet, again, there's the potential for them rotting out. But this one feels really solid. So again, on this one, I'm just going to pull off some of the stubble. And again, this is just a baby, but you can see he's starting to grow right there as well. Just get some of this fuzz off. When it's dried off like this over the winter, then it's really easy to be able to pull it apart. I have this one other baby that came off when I was harvesting them, so we'll see if this one's even viable or if it dried up completely over the winter. It looks like it might be dry. Yeah, so that's what one looks like if it's not so good. I think there's maybe a little bit of mold and stuff in there, so I'm not even going to try to grow that one. That'll just get tossed. So let's just keep having at it, and we'll get these cleaned up, and then we'll pot them up. So as I'm trying to kind of clean these up and look to see if they're viable, I do have one on the side over here that feels a little bit mushy, even though it's white. I'm going to try and pry it out. There we go. And I just think it's all kind of, I don't know. I don't know if that's viable or not, but I don't want it to ruin the rest of them. So yeah, I'm just going to pull it away from the main one here. And I do see some other parts of this starting, so hopefully it is still viable. And this one right here is a really good example of those kind of rings around the top that you see if you don't see any roots on it. But I kind of wish I had pulled more of the roots off of this one at the end of the year last year. I don't know if they're going to come off very well. Maybe I'll just pull it all apart. That makes it easier. So I'm just gently pulling at these, and they're definitely breaking apart pretty easily, which is a good sign. If they're stuck together, don't pull them apart. So each one of these will grow into its own little separate plant. And I'm going to pot them all up together. They don't initially need a ton of soil when you plant them, so I'm just going to put a little bit in the bottom of the pot. And this is a good example of how if you got this in the store, you might be tempted to plant it upwards like this, because sometimes that's just how they grow, but always make sure you see those circular patterns on the top, and that's where they're going to grow out of. How many of you are growing elephant ears? And do you overwinter them or do you just rebuy them? I'm kind of thinking this is my first year overwintering them, and I think it might be worth it if these coffee cups ones come back, because they were fairly expensive. But some of the other ones, just the big green giant ones, the major benefit that I see to saving those over time is that they get bigger and bigger. And so you end up with a much bigger plant if that's what you're going for. But there's certainly something to be said for the simplicity of going to the store and just buying a bag full of these and potting them up. The other thing, obviously, that's beneficial about doing these yourself and overwintering them is the fact that, oh yeah, that one's no good either. That one's just mushy. Is the fact that you're saving money. So I think actually today when I pot these up, because I've broken them apart, rather than watering them right away, I'm just going to plant them into the potting mix and set them there for a couple of days with it being dry. And then I will later come back and water them a little bit after a couple of days. Right now I'm just cutting off the bottom of this to see if it's totally rotten or not. I don't think it's completely rotten, but definitely a little mushier than I would like. So I'm just shaving off the bottom And that feels much healthier there. It feels much more solid. And again, I'm going to let that dry out before we plant it up. Oh, that one's no good. Okay. Well, you win some, you lose some, right, guys? At least I got some out of this. Ugh. Gross, right? That's pretty much all that came out of there. I don't think this one is overwintered well. And the funny thing is it's completely dry. So, I don't know what happened. But okay, let's get a pot, fill it up with some soil, and we'll plant the ones that we've got. I've got 3 of these, so I'm going to plant these 2 together and this big one by itself. Actually, maybe I'll just plant all of these into one pot because I have some pretty big pots here. And then I will plant what I have of the others right here. So I think that will be just about the right amount. So you can see I filled this pot just about halfway full, and the reason for that is because I'm not even going to cover the elephant ears up, and I'm going to take this tag that I have for the specific ones and I'm going to put it on this side of the pot, and that way I'll know which side the elephant ears are in. And I'm just going to kind of put them down into the soil. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a second, because it's not going to take but a minute. So I wonder, as the tails on these get really long, or the bottom where the roots come out, if you can cut them off. I haven't heard anything about that or done any research on it yet. I wonder if any of you guys know. If you do, let me know. Please put it down in the comments so we can all learn from each other. I love doing that. All right, here's what it looks like right now. Hopefully you can see that. It's really just enough soil to, again, give some contact with the roots. The soil is slightly moist coming out of the bag, and so I'm not going to do anything to it right now. Just going to leave these for probably 2 days, and then I will give them a bit of a water. Now I also want to show you something else. I got a couple of things from Costco the other day that I think you guys might be interested in seeing. Okay, I didn't know whether I was going to grow canna again this year or not, but just look at this canna. Oh, this is so pretty. These are orange, and I don't know, you can't see the leaves on this very well. They look green on the front, but in the back they look like they're kind of colorful. So I don't know, we'll see what those turn out to be like as they grow. And my guess is that the color of the leaves has to do with how much sun they get. And I definitely plant the cannas in full sun, and I did not save mine from last year. I don't intend to, so I enjoyed buying these full. And these, there's 6 of them in here. We got these at Costco. I think they were like maybe $10.99. They were under $15. At any rate, in my area, the best time for me to plant, it says, is to plant them from April till June. So April, again, I would have to plant these indoors and just to get them started. So I'm going to wait a little bit before I get them started, but I will get them started early. So excited about those. They're so bright and tropical looking. They'll be fun to have near the pool. And then I thought I would try some caladiums. I haven't seen any that I actually liked until my husband showed me these, and I said, yeah, get those. These are called Pink Cloud. There are 12 of them in here, and I'm also going to be waiting until sometime in April to pot these up indoors just to get them started. And then I'm thinking about using these in the window box in the front of my house, because these are an annual. But they do provide color, and I always struggle with that window box because it has to be something that takes shade, a lot of shade, because it's on the north side of the house, and it also doesn't get it's just really a challenge to try to plant and have something that looks really full and lush. So we're going to give these a shot because they do like to be planted in the shade. So super excited to try these this year. And do you all grow these? Have you tried them and do you like them? These say that they're sun tolerant even. So if you wanted to put them in the sun, I think in a northern landscape like mine, it'd be okay. But I'm definitely going to be using these for a shade planting. I want to give you an update on my purplicious irises. This is how big they are already inside. So they are just growing super fast. I can't believe it. I'm looking forward to putting them outside probably sometime in April. I think they'll be okay outside before the last frost, but we'll see. It just depends. So I'm just excited to see how well they're growing inside under the grow lights. One other update that I have for you is I have pricked out my snapdragons. So now I have a whole tray of snapdragons and all of these as well. So these are the Black Prince ones. They're doing really well. I'm really glad to see them growing. This is my first time growing the snapdragons, but I hear they bloom pretty much all summer. So I'm looking forward to having some of those in the containers along with some of the pink gomphrena that I'm growing. And then I have some little gem lettuce that I planted right here. And what did I do over here? What is this? Oh, these are my strawberry marigolds, you guys. Those are starting to come up as well. And then I planted some tomatoes over here. It might be a skosh early, but I do have those pop-up tomato accelerators. So when I get them out into the garden, I can definitely get them out maybe a week or two early and they'll still be okay. My pansies or my violas are looking really great. Check these out. I just pricked them out and put them into these bigger pots so they have more room for their roots. So I think these are going to be absolutely ready by April to be able to go outside. I probably will try to put these in the greenhouse after we go through this next cold snap. It's about to get really cold. I don't know what your weather's like, but here we've had some really cold weather and very wet. The yard is like a big soggy mess, and we have some nights in the teens that are coming up. So I just got to keep watching that forecast. All my clematis are looking great. I pinched all of them out and they're already setting up some of their new growth after those pinches have been done. So I'm going to keep doing that, right? I'm going to do it one more time, so that will give me, well, I've got 2 branches now, so that will give me at least 4 branches by the time that I think we're ready to pot these out. And hopefully they will do all right in these containers until it's time, because I really don't want to pot them up into anything more. I also went through and pinched my nasturtiums, so let me show you those. Well, you can see them. They're behind me right here. They're actually so big now. It's easy to see. And then I pricked out all of my coleus as well. So you can see I'm going to have tons of coleus because, you know, I already have a couple of 4-inch pots of the coleus, and then I just separated all of these out. So these are going to be great. I might use these alongside the caladiums, but they might also be just a little too much variegation or different color contrast, but I'm excited to see the colors on these come out. And I do have actually one heuchera that's in here. I left that one in there. All right, well, that's the update for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope that your seeds are growing well. I hope that your garden planting is going well. And I hope you're excited for spring, even though we may yet get some cold weather. There's still lots of things that we can do inside and getting prepared for. And I even ordered some pots. I ordered some different garden supplies, so I'm excited to do to show you those when I get all of those. But some new seeding supplies just based on my experience this year. I'm using a lot of reused plastic, which I think is excellent, but one of the things that I've been missing is those long trays that you put under that don't have any holes in them, because most of the trays that I have, aside from these with the domes, don't have a tray that catches the water. So I have to water from the top most of the time, which I really don't like. So I've got some of those coming and I'm really excited for that. All right, well, thanks again for joining me today, and we'll see you next time. Bye.